Hi, and thank you for joining us once again for another episode of BSPN. I'm Brandon Corey here with David Fixler and Josh Goldberg, and this is our post-Thanksgiving episode. So I wanted to start off by asking you guys favorite food at Thanksgiving. I know for my friend it's I think fried mac and cheese, and I think for me it would have to be my grandma's sweet potatoes with marshmallows thing that she makes. So what are you guys' favorite meals, I guess?
I think my favorite part is the apple pie at the end of it with a nice little whipped cream on top.
Of course.
Yeah.
I like matzo meal stuffing, and especially when it's put inside the turkey. Tastes so good.
Awesome. All right, so, and then of course, wouldn't be Thanksgiving without Thanksgiving football. We had two great games, and then of course, Jets, Colts, but Vikings, Lions, I would like to start off with. Lions won that one 16-13. Vikings continue their slide, and they're looking like they're on the edge of playoffs now. 6 weeks ago, they were like a lock, 5-0, and they've lost 5 of their last 6. What do you guys think is wrong with this team? Is it just the offensive struggles? Is there something else there? Personally, I think that they're lacking the offensive weapons. Stephon Diggs looked great at the beginning of the season, and I feel like he's fallen off, and now I feel like Kyle Rudolph might be their best, skill player on offense. So what do you guys think?
I think I agree with you. Their offense is not that great. Maybe it also comes down to leadership too. They were doing well, and then, Adrian Peterson left, and their offense definitely their difficulties.
Yeah, I agree. I would say, it all starts with the coaching, having the right person in charge to tell the team how to work best. That's definitely the main thing in charge, and that's kind of, they started off strong, and they've been struggling over the past couple of weeks, and like David just said, their offense has been having a tough time lately. I think their running game needs to pick it up if they're really going to try to get into the hunt for the playoffs. But as we said, Stephon Diggs has been doing really well, and Bradford needs to get back to the way he started if the Vikings want to get back in it.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned coaching. Mike Zimmer, just recent news, he's going to be out for tonight's game. When this comes out, it'll be obviously after that game, but tonight's game against the Cowboys, no Mike Zimmer. It doesn't look like they're going to win this one. Obviously, there's a chance, but their slide looks like it might continue. Do you think, maybe if Adrian Peterson, say, come back in a week or two, which it's definitely possible, the way things are trending, it's been a little bit of a slow recovery. Do you think, that could give them the boost to maybe, say they squeeze in playoffs with a wild card, make a playoff run? Or, I was thinking, just because, he didn't start the season very well, he was getting the carries, but he wasn't really doing anything with them. Do you think, maybe that's not enough?
I think, it might not be enough, but, maybe the Vikings need to figure out something, just as a team-wise. It might be, they might need to win a close game at the end, something to really get them motivated, because clearly, something's not right, whether it's chemistry or, what they might need to, even look back at the film, from the first half of the season, look at how they did then and, what they need to change then.
Mm-hmm. So we'll definitely see how the Vikings play out the other game. Cowboys-Redskins. Cowboys won that one 31-26. Zeke was running again, 20 carries, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Do you think there's any competition there for Rookie of the Year? I mean, you got Carson Wentz, who's fallen off since the beginning of the year. Dak Prescott is obviously a contender, but I feel like that offense runs through Zeke, so do you think there's any contention there for Rookie of the Year?
No, I don't really see anybody. I mean, he's that good, he is, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, just adding on, anytime that any player, even as a rookie, gets into the MVP, contention race, as it seemed like Elliott's already been talked about in that conversation too. I think it definitely shows that he's, the front runner for Rookie of the Year possibly.
Yep, definitely. And before we get into the NFC East, let's talk about MVP. Before that, I just want to mention Michael Thomas too. I think we should be talking about him, at least in the conversation of Rookie of the Year, but the way things are going with Zeke, like you said, I don't think there's any competition. But for MVP, Zeke's obviously in the conversation. It's hard for a running back to take that. The last time we saw that was Adrian Peterson. But we've also got some great quarterbacks in Derek Carr, and Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan. And who do you think is the front runner right now?
Well, I'm not really seeing the quarterbacks do as well, as they've done in the past. They haven't been as consistently good, and maybe that's not really who's going to win it. Possibly David Johnson. He's been really, really good for the Atlanta Falcons. They've done underrated. They've for the
Arizona Cardinals,
but still he's done very well for them. And he is, I think he could win it. He's been very good.
Yep, that offense definitely runs through David Johnson. I remember one game it was literally David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald, and that was like all of the offensive yards for that team. My only concern with that would be the team isn't, as
right.
good as it was last year, but definitely a contender, I would say. For me, it would have to be right now Tom Brady, but then right before we started filming, we got breaking news that Rob Gronkowski is going in for back surgery. He could be out for an extended period of time. So maybe Tom Brady, his production drops a little bit. He's always been one to make his players around him better, but take away Gronk, and that's obviously a big hit to that offense. So I could see maybe, Oakland's been playing great. I could see Derek Carr taking it, which is. It seems crazy that he's taken that big of a step this year, but he's really been just an excellent QB, and Oakland's just rolling right now. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I think Carr's been great. I have to throw Matt Ryan into the mix. I think he's been spearheading the Atlanta offense, and the Falcons have been scoring, I think, over 30 points a game on average, and they've been blowing out teams. They just played the Cardinals last week, who notoriously have had great defense, and they put up, I think, 38 points, which really demonstrates how well they've been doing, and their offense has just been doing really well. So I think Ryan will have a good chance at possibly contending for the MVP too.
Yep. I definitely think that's fair. That's definitely one of the most high-powered offenses in the league, and the running game there mixed with Matt Ryan, it opens up a lot of stuff, and obviously he's got as good a target as you can throw to in Julio. I can definitely see all of those guys taking it. It's going to be an exciting finish for the MVP. One of the more controversial things this week, Ravens and Bengals. Ravens were up 19, and at the end of the game, instead of punting with 11 seconds left, they just decided to take the ball, go to the back of the end zone. Everyone held on the play, flags all over the place, and they took the safety and ran out the clock. What'd you guys think about that play?
I think it's definitely a pretty interesting play right there. I don't really know if other teams have gone in that direction before in terms of pulling out a play like that at the end of the game. But if you're a coach and you're trying to win and you're up by 5 in the last couple seconds, why not? If you get to the win, it may not be the most clean play, but it gets you the W. And I think in the scheme of the way the game was going, I think that's the decision they make. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. If it's legal, then they should be able to do it. And maybe it's a loophole in the NFL's rules, but they did it and it worked. So
fair enough, and I give props to Harbaugh for good coaching in that situation. Whatever helps them come away with the win. Now I mentioned the NFC East. I want to talk about the two best divisions in football, which I would think are the AFC West and the NFC East. Let's start off with the AFC West because that's kind of a toss-up right now. You have Oakland, you have Kansas City, and you have Denver. Kansas City obviously just beat Denver in a real close one in overtime. Cairo Santos game-winning field goal off the post. Denver had a chance to get the field goal. They missed. It comes back, and really just an incredible game. Who do you think takes this one? Oakland's up at right now. They seem like the best team to me. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, I'm not really sure of the schedules remaining for those three teams, but going off of momentum, it looks like it's going to be a battle between the Chiefs and the Raiders. But I think the Raiders will pull it out.
Josh?
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up right now. It's all all those three teams have a great chance. I think the Raiders have done a great job this year so far of really showing how tough they can be in circumstances that, let's say, might bring other teams down, and I think they'll find a way to hold on to the division in the end.
Yep, I would definitely agree. I think the Raiders were my Super Bowl pick last episode, so I'm going to stick with them. I really think that offense is, if not the best in the league, definitely. It's definitely up there, and then on defense you have some great playmakers. David Amerson has played very well at cornerback. You have obviously Khalil Mack, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They have guys who can make plays. You mix that with their high-powered offense, and I think that team is the best in the division. That being said, I think Denver makes the playoffs here, I mean, we saw what they did last year with, not ideal quarterback play, so, hey, maybe Trevor Siemian can lead them somewhere too.
Mm-hmm.
We saw them beat the Patriots last year. If there's a team that can beat the Patriots in the playoffs, Denver might definitely be it. So as far as the wild card goes, do you think, maybe two teams, three teams even come out of this division?
Theoretically, it could be possible. I mean, not really sure how close it is, but they're both really good, and it looks to be they're better than the rest. So.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, with the AFC, it's very strong this year. So there's a lot of contenders. I mean, 3 teams is a little much. I definitely think 2 will come out of here. I think the NFC East might be a little bit better for that. But what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have 3 teams that are all doing really well, competing that closely for a top spot, it's definitely possible that you can get all the wild card teams coming from that division. I know in the East, I think the Patriots are kind of running away with that one, and the Dolphins have a chance. But I think if they're going to go after a wild card spot, they have to kind of really show some kind of dominance that they don't necessarily have at the moment. And other than that, I don't really think there's any other teams that might contend.
All right. So let's move on to the NFC East. Dallas won again against the Redskins. Do you think there's any contention for the top of this division? The only one who I would even say has a chance is the Giants, and they just pulled out the win against Cleveland, 8-3, I believe now. Do you think they can maybe make a push at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think the Giants have done really well. They've shown that they can, come back in tough situations and hold on to games, late in the fourth quarter, which has been something they've struggled with in the past. I mean, they've won 6 in a row, which shows that they, have some momentum going, and they're playing well right now. Manning is doing better. Odell Beckham is, starting to pull together, and he's focused. The running game is pretty strong. I think they definitely have a chance at contending against the Cowboys, but it's going to be hard to stop Dak and Ezekiel Elliott right now.
Mm-hmm. I personally don't think they have a shot. I'll be the realistic one. Cowboys are going to win it, but the Giants looks to be very good for the playoffs, and that's all that matters. If they can if they can play well in the playoffs, in the wild card, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the wild card goes in the NFC, it's pretty wide open right now. It's starting to come into form, but it looks like the Giants have one of those spots, pretty secured. I mean, it's not guaranteed, nothing is, but at this point, but they definitely seem to be the front runner. So it's all, at that point, it all depends on what they've done in playoffs. And we've seen them do it before, make a run out of a wild card spot. Right. So then the other teams in that division, you have the Redskins, you have the Eagles. Do you think either of them can maybe snag that third spot?
I mean, I don't know. For that third spot, you need a team that's really contending. The Redskins do have a strong offense. They've been solid. I don't think they're going to come away with that spot. And the Eagles, they've been good too, but I just don't think they have the power or strength to really hold on to that spot.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with Josh on that, but I think it's a possibility. It's all about momentum. If they do well against some other teams, and other teams do poorly, it could be they could also get another wild card spot.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, you have the Vikings there. You have the Lions, whoever doesn't come away with that one. The Packers with the win over the Eagles, I think maybe drops the Eagles basically out of any kind of realistic contention. They still obviously have a shot, but they would need a big run at the end of the year. So I think the Packers now throw themselves in there. I thought Aaron Rodgers looked fantastic in that game, and I thought the offense looked like the 2014 Packers, which was definitely refreshing to see. I think Rodgers hasn't gone anywhere. I think he's playing.
He's still there.
At least in that game, he was playing some of the best football in his career, I thought. So I think the Packers are in there. Who obviously whoever doesn't win between the Vikings and Lions, I think has a shot. And then in the NFC, you have maybe the Cardinals could make a run for one of those wild card spots. But we'll see how it goes. Now I want to move on to one of the other New York teams we didn't talk about, the Buffalo Bills. We saw Sammy Watkins finally make his return. 3 receptions for 80 yards on limited snaps. He played less than half of the snaps for the team. So do you think maybe this Bills team gets revitalized a little bit and then could potentially make a run?
Yeah, I mean, Tyrod Taylor is a really good quarterback. I think he's quite underrated. at how good he is. And Sammy Watkins is an amazing wide receiver. You know, him and LaShawn McCoy are great, you know, keys to that offense. And, you know, it's really about whether that defense can hold up, because that offense is, you know, can compete with some of the best in the league.
Yeah, I really think this defense is maybe the strong point of this team. I think the offense, when healthy, is one of the more dynamic ones in the league. We have some really great playmakers on there. But, you know, when you have a running quarterback and you have LaShawn McCoy, who's been banged up from time to time, and you have Sammy Watkins, who obviously has injury problems, it's just a matter of health. And if I think they can stay healthy, then, they can go as far as they want. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I agree. You guys covered the main points right there. I mean, Watkins and McCoy are going to be the main reasons if the Bills are to make the playoffs and to really compete later on.
Yep. You know, the offense has been kind of, I want to say slow, but you know they've made do with the receivers they've had.
Right.
You know, like Robert Woods isn't necessarily the number one that you want, but you know they've made do with it. So I think having Sammy Watkins back could give him a huge boost. So now to end the episode, I just want to go into game picks for this week. We got 3 NFL picks. Start off Kansas City at Atlanta. What do you guys think?
I'm going to stick with the high-powered offense, and I'm going to say that the Falcons will take that one.
I'm gonna be the I'll say the opposite, and I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. You know, I think that late win against the Broncos might have really, you know, given that motivation to be like, all right, you know, we can do this. So
Definitely.
Chiefs.
I like it. I like Matt Ryan playing at home. I always do. He's one of those quarterbacks who, you know, when he's playing at home, that he's just significantly better. I think having Tevin Coleman back gives the running game a little bit of a boost. We've seen Devontae Freeman kind of take over. He wasn't, you know, what he was as the lead back last year, but I think when Tevin Coleman's back, you know, you can spell Devontae Freeman, and then both these guys are fresh and they're both making big plays. And Tevin Coleman didn't rip off any big plays last week. He had a touchdown, but I think he could definitely rip them off soon. You know, we saw him do it a bunch earlier in the year. And then Julio Jones, obviously. I think Marcus Peters plays on one side of the field a lot. Julio Jones moves all over the place. I could see Julio having a big game this week. You know, as much as I hate to say it, I'm playing him in fantasy, but I feel like that's the way it's going to go. So now, Giants against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should be a pretty high-powered offensive game. What do you guys think is going to happen?
I'm gonna have to go with I guess it wouldn't be an upset, but I think the Steelers will find a way to win that game. I mean, Big Ben he's been strong of late since coming back from his injury. I mean, the Giants are rolling right now. They're doing really well, but I think the Steelers they just know the Giants' weak points, and I think they'll be able to win that game.
I'll go with the Giants. Yeah, I think you know, Eli Manning's great, and you know, he'll be able to power the Giants to the win.
I thought it was funny how you mentioned they were you almost mentioned them as an underdog here, because despite the records, the Steelers are actually favored to win this game. I think the spread was 7 the last time I checked, which seemed a little high for me. I do think the Giants pull away in this one. You know, they didn't really impress me against the Browns. In the first half, they did not look very strong, but we saw Odell Beckham make plays, and I don't think the Steelers have anyone on defense that can necessarily, you know, keep him in check as far as the really lockdown corner. So I think Odell Beckham has another great game. I think the Giants come away with this one, and then I think they all but lock up that one wild card spot.
Right.
So now we go into Panthers at Seahawks. Seahawks are hot right now. Do you think the Panthers have a chance to take this one?
I mean, as you said, the Seahawks are rolling right now. The Panthers they've shown there's been certain times where they've been stronger, but I think at home for the Seahawks, that's huge, and I think it's going to be a big scoring game, but I think the Seahawks will take it.
Yeah. And David?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I really think, you know, that Seahawks home advantage is just incredible. You know, the place is deafening, and Cam Newton, you know, he's not as good as he was last year, and so he can't really take over just by himself. He needs, you know, to use his other you know, parts of the team. So I think Seahawks take it.
I like what we said about Seahawks at home. I don't think there's a tougher place to play in the NFL than the Seahawks on the road. You know, they're better teams. I think the Patriots are a better team. I think, you know, there might be maybe the Raiders are a better team, but as far as the toughest game to play, I feel like Seahawks in Seattle. There's nothing tougher, and I think that they come away with that one. All right, so we've got finals week coming up. this will probably be our last episode of the semester. I'd like to wish everyone happy holidays, and we'll see you next year with a new episode of BSPN. Thank you for joining us.